The reason we're hanging out here now is we're running the Empower Her program, and we want to make sure that you've got the right tools and resources and ways of actually looking to support the women throughout the season. We want to give you some insight into what are some of their mental health challenges that they might be faced with and some of the struggles that they might be dealing with day in and day out. Did you know that in 2024, 44% of teenage girls from 14 to 19 years old struggle with body image, self-doubt, and anxiety? It's a pretty alarming statistic, right? The 2024 study shows some of the statistics around where teens struggle with mental health. We've got things like transitioning from primary school to high school. It's a big year, year seven. Seeking out a sense of belonging, understanding where you connect and fit with your community, hormones, academic pressure, a different change in the way that we're studying, developing our overall self-esteem and our self-awareness, and eating disorders. And sadly, those family breakups can all be moments that lead towards mental health.
Like in that stage of like making that choice at 16 to go, I need to move
Yep.
out of this environment
Yep.
and move into somewhere that I feel more comfortable, safe, whatever it was. Like, how do you get to that point and know as a child, because you're still a child effectively,
Definitely.
to make such a life-changing decision?
I was definitely in a very dark spot at that time, in a family aspect. Sport, but at 16, best year of my career. We
Put the drive into
we
what you
won-
can control.
That's it. We won NPL, and we won the NPL in futsal and outdoor, and we had a superstar team. Some who went on to be Matildas. Play in the W League as well. And for me, that's all I cared about. I didn't care about anything else, but just wanting to be at the field. It was probably the only thing that was stable for me in that time.
For most players, coming to training is the highlight of their day. If you notice persistent changes in their behaviour, it may be worth a conversation with your safety support officer or technical director at the club for further observation. Now, you as a coach play a vital role. You're one of the significant people that they look up to. So you're not only there to coach them how to be a great player, but also how to look after their health, not just what they put in for nutrition, but overall what's going on in here. Let's take a look at some ideas of what to look out for and how to actually help support your teams. Firstly, it's really important that we recognize the signs. Mental health and anxiety might show up with things like withdrawing from the conversation or withdrawing altogether, not being involved, excessively worrying about things, feeling a little bit agitated, and constantly exaggerating some of the situations that they might be in. Panic attacks can take over, or avoidance of training and not wanting to be there, and constantly making excuses or reasons not to show up. Then we want to think about eating disorders, noticeable weight changes, obsession with food, maybe even skipping meals, extreme exercise habits where they're pushing themselves to the limits. Then we've got low self-esteem. Maybe they're talking about themselves negatively, constantly putting themselves down. They've got a moment of failure where they're constantly feeling that fear of failure is taking over. They're avoiding stepping into some of the leadership roles you might be expressing in your day-to-day running of the team and constantly comparing themselves to others. 48% of girls hitting puberty can really struggle with their mental health. That's a huge statistic, right? It's almost 1 in 2. Sometimes the signs are subtle, but if we can catch them early, it might make all the difference. By recognizing the signs and offering support, you might actually change one of those young athletes' lives. So don't be afraid to step in if you feel you need to, but not overstep the mark, and give them the right resources and help that they might need to make a difference in their lives.
Everyone brings their whole self to football, and it's probably why maybe I mixed some of the things that were going on with me personally to the football, and really tried to let that go and probably let my frustration out, or
Oh,
try
those
to cope
poor
with that.
opposition. Brooks coming at you.
But it probably came more back to myself. I'm my own worst enemy. So out there, you know, that's probably where I was a big challenge for me, is my own personal expectation of where I think I would like to be and how I would like to perform. And if I'm not meeting that, then I'm probably not hiding that very well, because, you know, that frustration will just keep creeping in for me.
Yeah.
So,
And that's one of those little moments that could be creeping to self-doubt, or it could jump into those challenging beliefs that we sometimes have.
it definitely does.
Physiology changes, it shifts a little bit.
I like to just have some time, a few minutes to myself before I go out there. I don't like to have a coach instruction. I don't like to have interaction. I just like to be able to settle myself out there before I go out.
Reground yourself, something more
Yes.
mindful than something like, because some people need the hype up. They want the loud music. They want everything happening around them. Others might want something a
That's
little bit
it.
more calm.
I'm more than happy for that in the pre stuff, but, you know, once we're ready to step out and get ready for the game, calmness is definitely a thing for me. Just being able to think, okay, what's my role now? What am I going out there to do? What do I need to be mindful of? Where are the things that I think are going to be strengths and where are going to be weaknesses? What's the ground like? What's the weather like? Who's off? Who's behind me? What's around? And just being able to just kind of take check of what's about to happen.
Yeah,
So,
being more conscious, setting yourself up and preparing yourself for anything.
yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Most important thing is for you to create a really safe and trusting environment for them to bring them full selves to you if they need that support. Open communication, listening to them wholeheartedly without any judgment. Encourage a team culture. Moments of mental hardiness and resilience are always great to have in the team environment, and actually celebrating confidence and based on the things that they're bringing, their strengths and their attitude, not being all about the gameplay. And then set an example. You're the coach. Practice modeling that self-care and that emotional intelligence, not just being there for yourself, but being there for others as well. If you start to notice their behavior change or a difference in the way that they're showing up to training, maybe you want to have a chat with them. If you do, then please know to have that conversation in a really open space, making sure that you're in that environment where people can see you having a chat, but also where that conversation's kept really confidential and private, that others can't hear you talking. It protects you, but it also protects the girl involved. Let's think about where we can guide our athletes towards help. There are many resources out there. We don't always have to fix everything. Think about encouraging support networks. Get them to think about who's in their reach, their parents, their relatives, their grandparents, their friendship circles, their friends, family, and parents, their coaches, other coaches in the community, teachers at school. It's a collective thing to support a child. It's not just a one-stop shop of one person's going to give the right thing to that person. We needed a resource of a whole bunch of different people, and every little bit pieces together to actually get them through some of the really tough times. Now, we don't want to come across as overstepping the mark because our job is to be their coach, not to be their therapist. So we want to make sure that we're not going too far, but we're providing the right resources, checking in regularly, and encouraging professional guidance when necessary. If you do notice ongoing struggles, this is where we want to encourage her to speak up and seek out extra support. And with your help, you can work together on what's the right way to move forward. Take your role as a coach as being a powerful influence in a player's life, somebody that can guide and support athletes, building and accepting team culture for who each individual is. It's a pretty rich experience and a privilege to be able to guide and mentor these athletes coming through.
From all the coaches I've had, she's probably still the most influential person I come back to think about where things started and where things went. And there probably have been a few coaches in between that have done that, but probably not so much that have ever given me so much that she did.
What do you think set her apart from everybody else?
I think she saw me differently.
So she uniquely let you show up?
I think so. I probably have a bit of a cheeky personality. I'm so competitive. Like, can't
Really
handle
bad.
losing, can't handle it, and that's probably something that I had. It was probably my biggest challenge throughout my personal career, was that issue itself. But I guess I felt like we had a connection when it came to the competitive side of it, what we would do to take for it to win. Whereas I don't think other coaches maybe understood me in a sense, when it
And
came
that
to
helped.
my emotional dealings with that.
Yeah. And do you think that helped you switch on? Like having somebody to uniquely identify how you show up, what you bring to the table, how you can do it,
Yep.
and to give you that extra bit of nudge.
Definitely. I felt like I probably only had my best years with her.
Check this out, this could be the most important video you see today. I want you to imagine that these represent the population of the world. These ones represent the people who won't experience a mental health problem this year. And all the colours represent the 1 in 4 of us who will. Let's just mix that up. Now when you're struggling with your mental health, your mind convinces you that you're the only one. Now let's just take a pinch. This represents your family, and these are your friends, and here's some work colleagues. See, it's a natural part of being human. So even if you're not struggling, the likelihood is you're going to brush shoulders with someone who is. So be kind.